Hi, I'm David from Fry's Gardens, which is a community garden here in Acton.
Fry's Gardens has been here for 100 years, and it is a public open space, but for various reasons it had become inaccessible. It was mainly used by a single user group, which was dog owners and their dogs. So we just wanted to make it more accessible to everybody, and we established a community garden here.
Back in 2016, we came across a grant programme which was being organised through Ealing Council, and we made an application and was successful. One of the conditions was also to raise some match funding, to get some commitment from local people. It was a collaborative process. We actually sort of made arrangements with basically what we actually wanted, and they actually sort of gave us sort of assistance in suggestions in how to actually sort of progress it.
Oh, good. Well, if we had money, we could buy a water butt, for example, and capture the rain. I mean, that would be one way of getting some water over here on the green. I think the standpipe is not just an issue of money, it's also logistics and the problem that perhaps it might be vandalized.
Around 2004, I was walking past what was a dump here, as usual, and a friend of mine, Michael, was looking over the railings, and I happened to comment to him, "What you looking at?" And he said, "I'm looking at the dump." So I said, "Yep, not a nice sight." We got chatting, and he said, "I've got this idea actually. I thought we'd make a really nice community garden." You came along about 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
About 3 years ago, I think it was.
We wanted to repeat the idea of these peace gardens. The idea, in essence, is a strip of land that everybody and anybody can use. Find somewhere, first of all, find somewhere that it can be a horrible place. Find something you think that's just ugly and horrible, and it's look at the rubbish on it. And maybe you think, I wonder if I carry on tidying that and planting there, if I persevere, if I can turn this spot into something beautiful. And start. Don't think about it, just start.
And about this one, I think your neighbor gave this to you, yes?
Which,
The water, you said?
yes, yes. This is, yeah, lady from up there. Now it's a different situation. We share this with the Energy Garden.
So it's good sometimes to share the resources between different gardens.
Yes.
At Sunnyside Community Gardens, we really focus on the different reasons why people want to come and volunteer. So they want to volunteer to be part of a community. So we're very social, we have tea and coffee and lunches together all the time. People want to get outdoors, and some people want to really learn about horticulture and gardening. So we always have a community gardener on site. They're all very knowledgeable and friendly, and they work with the volunteers to help them do what they're interested in. And one of the ways we found that brings everyone together is by eating or having cups of tea together. So every morning we have tea and biscuits at the beginning of the day, and where we discuss what we're going to be doing in the garden from 10:30 to 11. And then between 1 and 2 we have a lunch. All these are free, and volunteers help make them. And by sitting down and eating together, we're able to bring together people who wouldn't normally ever spend time together. We're always looking for new volunteers. It's an enormous and varied site with a nature reserve and formal gardens and family gardens and a plant nursery. So there's loads and loads of gardening to do on site. And we're looking for people on Sundays, Mondays and Fridays. That's when we're open to drop-in volunteering. You either come at 10:30 for our coffee and planning time, for gardening from 11 to 1, or you can come at 2 o'clock for our afternoon gardening from 2 to 4. You don't need any skills. We see it as our job to accommodate people. We have a wide range of people come. Some people need to come with support workers because they have disabilities, and other people have years of experience in gardening. We have a couple of retired professional gardeners involved.
You're providing something for passengers on trains. You know, they come, it might be a dead platform, but instead of which there's a place which a lot of them really like to spend time in and sit there and maybe miss their train because they're enjoying sitting there. So the idea is that with all these sunny stations and spaces, you could provide quite a lot of energy for the good, for the grid, and for the stations. You know, the energy garden, or this garden, should be good for people such as neurodiverse people who perhaps are not good at socializing, or on the other hand, they may not be good at organizing, or they may be extremely bad at handling their own time. So therefore, there's a casual aspect to it, to welcome people in at whatever level. These arches here, later on, in a couple of months, they will be covered with beans and with gourds and so on. So you'll have a covered archway here. So we tried to build a sort of architecture that people can enjoy, but also have produce at the same time.
So it's not just gardening, also the architecture side as well, that volunteer can get involved?
That's right, because we built beds and we built these banks with railway sleepers, and we built these. So yeah, a number of different things that can be done. Not necessarily a good thing that Bill Gates is the biggest landowner in the United States, biggest owner of farms in the United States. Yeah? So there's another agenda which excludes people. And so the thing with the energy garden is to include people. It's not to include experts, it's not to include people who already have the skill. It's include anybody who might be interested in it. And my question is, can they help us? Many other countries know a lot and have different plants. Neem tree grows in countries like India and is extremely healthy. Every bit of the neem tree can be used for medicine.
I'm Amber Alfaro. I work for an organisation, a charity called Social Farms and Gardens, and we're a national charity that supports city farms and community gardens in their work. Now members work with volunteers and they do a huge range of different things, and we support our members. So we support them with training and with advice, with networking so that they can get together and learn from each other. And in London specifically, we run training about how to manage your organisation, how to look after yourself, how to run a small charity that does outdoor environmental work. So charities are quite often very small organisations, so they can learn from each other through the network. They can find out good ideas about how to do something physically for the environment, or good ideas about how to run the organisation. And so the training would be things like, for example, how to have an inclusive space that's safe for people to come into, but also doesn't accidentally exclude people. You know, if people are really interested in pursuing those as either a career or as a kind of really enjoyable hobby through their life, some of our members offer ongoing courses. So they offer qualifications in community gardening, they offer introductions. We have a course which is called Gardenizer, which we run all over Europe, and that's working with community gardens in different spaces in Europe.